great. And
Mm-hmm.
we spoke about a put option and a call option, where a
We
call
did.
option is somebody saying, I'm the buyer, I'm going to agree to your price, but I'm going to give you a fee, but I may pull out at the end, but then you'll keep the fee.
Yeah.
And a put option is the same thing where the vendor is saying, you're now going to buy this. It's not optional anymore.
You're going to do
So
it.
on this date, either that date or before, this is your obligation to buy. So it's either a no obligation to buy or an
Or
obligation to
obligation
buy.
to buy.
And if we were to put these two things together, a call and a put option together as one contract,
Mm.
then we can put a put and call option together,
Yes.
which part of it benefits the vendor, the
And
person
part
owning, the other person is the
the
buyer,
buyer.
the person buying, and the time frame in between is the bit where at this date it becomes X amount, and at that date it
It
becomes that
becomes.
amount. So then you really can have a few different
Mm.
dollar amounts and time amounts within
Mm.
one big contract.
Yes.
Again, speak to your legal professional. But that brings us to what a wrap and a sandwich is.
Yeah.
Think about a wrap or a sandwich as something where you're getting the answer that you want, but there are steps involved along the way
Uh
that
huh.
are agreed to steps. So, for example, let's say I've just graduated university. I have an excellent career ahead of me,
Mm-hmm.
but I find that I need to move to a different country town so that I can start working in my profession. I have the option of moving to a country town and being a renter, or buying a house in a new country town, but the bank is going to look at my employment history, not just the
Ah.
hypothetical, but they're going to ask me for pay slips. So
Yes.
really, I'm not ready today, but I'm ready today.
Yes.
So what do I mean by that? It means that I have faith in myself. I already have a job lined up. I can choose to go with a bank that will agree to those terms, but then they'll charge me a little bit extra interest on
Mm-hmm.
because of their risk.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can say, okay, you, Mr. Owner, Miss Owner, Dr. Owner, that already owns that surgery, that consultation room, that
Uh huh.
residential house. I guarantee you I'm going to buy this in 2 years' time.
Mm.
I want to rent from you for 2 years, but during that 2 year time, I don't want to move interstate, start living in there, build a great reputation for my new profession, my new surgery,
Uh
my new
huh.
dental office, and then you sell it because it's successful, because that's not fair. If
Yeah.
I'm a renter, you can sell it whenever you want.
Mm.
So I want you to guarantee to me that if I'm renting from you and fixing, painting,
And doing
making a
all those
suburb,
things.
making a suburb location that's a growing business that's really well known, I've invested time and money
Mm.
into this. I want you to guarantee that now that I've added value to your location, you're not going to just up the price. So,
Ah.
what we'll do as a buyer, I'm suggesting to you the price that I'm going to buy it at, but also I'm going to give you the obligation for the next 2 years. I'm going to be your renter. I'll continue renting this property from you,
Mm-hmm.
and half of my rent will just be to pay your expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Half of the rent, I want you to consider that into an account that just keeps accumulating. And that's going to be my deposit in 2 years' time when I buy your place. So, in effect, I'm not going to pay
Ah.
you a fee, an option fee. I'm not going to pay you a deposit. I'm going to start renting.
Mm-hmm.
And the completion of the contract in 2 years and 3 months' time is that we've started a relationship as a buyer,
Mm.
but you knew right ahead of time that
Yes.
I'm going to buy this only in 2 years and 3 months' time.
Yes.
Because after 2 years, I can show my tax return to the bank. The bank's going to love me.
That's right.
And we've already agreed on the price. Meanwhile, you're earning money. And if I walk away, you keep the whole rent. But if I
Yeah.
decide to buy it, half the rent you keep to pay your council rates, your
And
taxes, your stamp duty, whatever else you need to do. And then you can do whatever you like. You can sell it, you can rent it to somebody else. All I've done
mm.
is improved your property.
Yeah.
But if I buy it, then that 50% that you've accumulated becomes my deposit,
Deposit.
which means when I'm asking for my bank
They
how
can
much they're
see.
going to lend me, I haven't wasted all of those
Mm.
2 years of rent. I've wasted half of it just paying rent money, which is gone, but
Yeah.
half of it is like a savings account, a
Count.
compulsory savings account towards the purchase.
Mm.
And look, to be honest with you, if my business doesn't go well in 2 years, I don't think it's going to go well there in 5 years or in 10
Yeah.
years. So I'm probably going to use my experience to get a job somewhere else and point towards that as my experience in the field after getting my uni degree.
Uh-huh.
Now, that's a good sandwich for both because at the beginning,
Definitely.
you've got a deposit as a renter. At the end, you've got a deposit as a
As a
buyer.
buyer.
And the meat in the middle, and the meat in the middle is the profit from the rent.
Uh-huh.
You're covering both sides. Beginning deposits, safety, end deposit, safety, meat in the middle is profit. So it's a
Yes.
win-win for both. In
Yes.
a way, it's similar to an option deal, but because you're complicating it by the fact that the person moves in at the beginning, lives there, pays their insurance in
Yeah.
case something happens and accidentally the house gets demolished, or you'd be surprised at things that happen when a tenant is in there, especially if they're
Mm.
trying to do a renovation, but something is uncovered during the renovation.
Like
With a
asbestos
sandwich
or
deal, or
water damage or
if they've done a part of a demolition and they've accidentally cut a supporting beam that they weren't supposed to cut that was hidden behind something else,
yeah.
unless you've got the original plans for the building, you're relying on your builders to do the right thing and
Mm.
they've got their own insurances, but it's still your responsibility to do it the right way.
Yes.
So this way the person who's the tenant in there has written permission to do
What
whatever
they
it
need
is that
to.
your two lawyers have agreed on, but the insurance is now specified. And that means that you can allocate a sum or you can have different terms like professional indemnity insurance,
Mm.
construction insurance.
Yes.
You can allocate certain dollar amounts where your tenant is allowed to do anything up to $5,000 or anything up to $20,000 worth of parts and labor.
Mm-hmm.
So both the construction materials and the payments made to plumbers, electricians, etc. So now you can specify what can and can't be done
Mm.
with permission, what requires further permission, what
Mission.
requires council permission. So really, the sandwich deal or the wrap can
Mm-hmm.
give it more complexity, and all that complexity can be done between the two lawyers. And that written option contract is called a wrap because quite often you have an option contract tied to another option contract. It might be a call
Ah.
option at the beginning, a put option at the end, and a pain point that says if at the end of the put option you haven't paid,
Mm-hmm.
then all of your rent money becomes
Their
the
money.
owners and
Mm.
they have no more obligation to deal with you.
Yeah.
So there's lots of steps involved,
Yes.
lots of ingredients in a food thing. So if you're
Yes.
thinking of a wrap and you're going to add your tomato
That's
sauce,
the
your barbecue
food
sauce, your onions, your
analogy.
cheese, and your meat,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the food analogy, but
Mm.
you're getting enough food in the middle to feed you as
Mm.
ongoing rent.
Mm.
So the to juxtapose the two of them, do you like that word?
I
Juxtapose?
do. I do indeed. I
To
do.
compare the two, to
Mm.
juxtapose the two, you're going to look at one option deal, which is I'll pay you a little bit now, and then you're not getting anything for another 12 months until I settle or don't settle.
Mm.
The sandwich or the wrap deal is I'll pay you a little bit now, every week or 2 weeks,
I'm
whenever
going
the
to pay
rent is
you
due,
some
I'll
more.
keep paying you a little bit. And then when I decide to buy it, maybe it's 6 months in, maybe it's 24 months in,
Yeah.
whatever it says in the contract, I can jump in and buy it, but then you're being fed all through the process.
Yeah.
And I've got a house to live in, to work through, to improve on without having to call you at the number of
Mm.
times I need to send um, a plumber, a builder, a carpet layer for inspections,
Yeah.
for the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So it gives you a lot of options from both sides. I don't mean the word option. It gives you
Gives
a
you
lot of possibilities
yes.
from both
Opportunities.
sides.
Yeah.
So opportunities. So the wrap deal and the sandwich deal are also known as a rent to buy.
Yes. How common are these?